breaking it up, so it changed every year, and we let the characters evolve. I mean, it started out as 4 single girls in their 30s, except Samantha was not. And in the 3rd season, I married Charlotte off, just because it seemed like she would get married no matter, it didn't matter that her husband was impotent, it was time for her to get married. And I think by constantly reflecting change in these characters, they became more than they started out to be, which were very sort of, especially the 3 of them, Miranda, Samantha, and Charlotte, archetypes, and Carrie, of course, was more integrated. And over the years, they became so real that the leap to the screen was interesting. And also, they became girlfriends to the audience. And after we went off the air, they just kept getting more and more friends around the world. So the fun of the first movie, from the release of it, was you hadn't seen your friend in 4 years. The pressure of that was enormous on me when I sat down to write it.
Well, and what did you learn from the experience of that first movie? Because it became this kind of phenomenon where it became a party. People, you know, friends got together, and it was an event for them to go out and see Sex in the City. That was sort of unusual.
Well, the party is the first thing I learned. And when I sat down to write this one, all I remembered was that when I saw a couple of those midnight screenings on the first movie, the audience was the show. They were dressed, and they were taking pictures of themselves, and some of them were drunk, and they were going for more friends and more drinks. And when I sat down and I knew that the opportunity was in, I thought I want it to be a continuation of the party. I want people to come again and really make the vibe of this movie a fun party, because I felt that the vibe of the first movie was kind of a bruise, like Carrie's bruise, that you sit in the dark and like, oh, that hurts so much. And that good kind of sad movie experience, that I wanted this one to be just a big, fun party.
And you seem to have a lot of fun with it. It really feels like you're sort of doing 2 things. You're letting, you have the genuine emotional moments, and you have sort of what you feel like the audience wants to see, but then you definitely throw some surprises in there, some things that we would just not expect.
The only rule I had when I sat down was it cannot be like the first movie, so that led to a whole different vibe. And what I like about Sex and the City, this brand that people have come to like, is its outrageous sparkle or colorfulness, but what I think makes it all work is that there is a very real, hopefully real heart in the middle, which is these women, and especially Carrie Bradshaw's search to find out how to be her best self in this very still traditional world that we have.
Yeah, because the whole theme of them trying to create their own rules, of her trying to create a marriage with her own rules,
yeah.
And people tend to...
That's my big anarchy thought in this movie, that you could have 2 days off. When I told my sister who has 3 kids and lives in New Jersey that this was the thought I was thinking, she was like, oh, I'd like 5 days. And I thought that's so Miranda, but I thought, oh, that's a really challenging, simple anarchy thought.
So who thinks they might actually try this 2 days off like
Who has 2 apartments? Let's start there. That's the hard question.
Right.
That's the problem.
So when did some of these ideas come to you? Of course, the big idea of taking the film out of New York City.
I think that the first thing, when I was lucky and blessed enough to go to London and Berlin, Tokyo, and Paris with the first movie, and when I got to London specifically, it was the first, we opened it in London, and I saw that the girls had friends waiting for them and then it happened again in Berlin, and in Tokyo, and in Paris, and I thought, this is more than the city. This is starting to feel like the girls have friends around the world. So I think that thought of the world and the woman world, the world of women, all around the world are connecting over certain themes. And then the other thing I thought was, when I sat down to write it, we were at the beginning of the economic depression, and I thought, I'm not going to be able to go to Wall Street and fix this. It's not my job, I can't do that. What could I do? And then I thought I could do what they did in the 30s, in the Great Depression, which was make a movie that's kind of escapist.
Like a big glitzy MGM.
Big, top hat, come Road to Morocco, come, David Lean, and just take people on the vacation that maybe they can't afford.
Right.
And I thought, my hunch is that people in 2 years, because it's been like almost a year and a half from beginning to the end, it's that quick. I thought they might be ready for a vacation. Or when Samantha says that line about, it's been 2 years of this bullshit, bad business and bullshit economy and I'm done. I thought maybe people would be in the mood to say that. So that was the vibe, and then I thought, where can they go? Oh, you Upper East Siders. And then I thought, where can I go? Where is current and interesting? And when I sat down, the PR travel spin machine was all about Dubai and Abu Dhabi, and they actually called Abu Dhabi the future. And I thought, if I'm going to be looking at time, that's a great writing platform. Carrie's past, her present, and the future being a natural place.
And some of these extravagant things that we see are sort of real things.
It's
like
all real.
No, like the airplane, for example. Is
Everything, I went twice. Once to have like the writer's journey, because I knew the story. Samantha's going to the Middle East. Okay, I got that. I know something's going to happen over there. But all the details, the butlers, the car, like getting my own butler, they gave me a butler when I landed. They were very into the idea of this, in theory. Here's your butler, here's your car, here's your ridiculous hotel area that I never even went in, 9 rooms. I was like, I don't even know what's over there. I've been here a week. I haven't been on room 3 yet. All that is real. The dunes are real. The camel experience is real. The food, the colors, the veil. The French fry moment happened to me. I was like I was mostly taken by the veils. And the fact that it seemed to me, between my 2 trips, which were 6 months apart, or 7 months apart, that the veils had almost become twice as many, the decorated veils of the moderner. Modern of the women. That stunned me, that the women were, something was happening there that was different. So all the details and seeing the French fry, it's all what makes something real within the fantasy.
That ring is real too, right?
The black diamond ring,
Yes.
yeah. We created that ring, it's very pretty, but we had to put an extra, the band itself is all diamonds because black diamonds don't sparkle as much as regular diamonds, so we had to have a little bit more sparkle in the sparkle.
And just tell me a little bit about the costumes. I understand there was a $10 million costume budget.
That is so under the costume budget, it's not even funny. It's impossible to really, but when that came out in the New York Post, $10 million, I was like, well, why not?
No. I mean, that's
You're going to leave your house, what are you going for, $14.95?
Right.
Don't you want it to be big? I mean, I do, but the reality is the budget is undecipherable because the clothing is never purchased for the most part. It's like out of archive homes and houses of design and new items. I've seen clothing taken off Sarah Jessica the minute we finished the scene and shipped to a runway. It's not like there's a gangster with a big $10 million out on a porch going to take all those shoes. It all comes in, and it is amazing. It is in a warehouse this big, tables this big of shoes, hats, jewels. Kim wore a ring. I'll tell you how under 10 million is. In the karaoke scene, if you see it again, note her ring. It was a $500,000 ring. And it came with 3 security guards. But of course, it's a fantasy.
Right.
It's an aspirational moment. But you could get that same ring probably for $2,000 if it was a knockoff. But nothing in this movie, happily, has to be a knockoff because it's this goodwill with the fashion business where they see that we're going to shoot it pretty and display it correctly. So they're more than happy to loan it to these kind of what have become icons. And Patricia Field's a genius. And she's always crazy and like a Picasso. But in this one, I said to her, Pat, the Middle East is going to be an issue because of the shoulders. And everything she started showing me was halters. And I was like, what are you doing? She goes, they're on vacation. What am I going to do? I said, you're going to have to do something.